Hi, Nick. Right before we start, finishing up my fries. Don't mind me stuffing my face. It'll be edited out of the video. So those who are here live and in person get to witness it. Those who watch the replay will never know. Okay, guys, it is noon. I'm going to still give people a little bit of time to get on today. Today, I'm going to go through just a minute bit of goal training with you guys because I've had a ton of people who are excited, which I am too, for January series on just what you can do to make 2021 the best year for you. Planning, goals, just organization, all the stuff that you need in order to be successful in your real estate career is all stuff that we're going to be going over. And I'm also going to go over, just a couple of things that show up during the week that I like to talk to you guys about, because one of the things that I've been working really hard on is having communication between all of us so that we don't make the same, we don't have the same issues over and over again. I don't want to say mistakes because a lot of times it has nothing to do with the fault of the agent. There's things I would miss, there's things other people miss, and then all of a sudden, there's an issue. I had a cash closing. Doesn't that sound like just perfect right at the end of the year? Oh, surprise, we're going to do a 7-day cash closing. Woo, right? We're now at 14 days. The wire just came through this morning. We've had to do 3 extensions, and the finance company that had this person's money was basically saying that they wouldn't wire money until they verified with her on the number that they had for her, and who's at home. She goes into the office, so she had to work from home one day so they could call her at her home number to verify. And the escrow company is working remotely, so they weren't answering. So it was a hot mess, right? So just one thing to check on if you're writing a cash offer, make sure that the funds are available to be transferred and what that is needed to get those funds transferred, because I never in my wildest dreams thought it would take almost 14 days. Mind you, we did have Christmas and a couple of, holidays in there, so it wasn't business days, but right, I always want to share stuff with you guys so that you don't get stuck in that same predicament.
Yeah, I had one cash transaction and we scheduled it to be closed in 7 days, and as a result it was closed after 3 months. Yeah, 3 months instead of 7 days. Oh.
This does not surprise me, like, at all. Nothing that happened in 2020 I don't think can surprise me. Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of stuff, a lot of firsts. In 22 years, I feel like I've seen it all. And then, nope, you guys show me, surprise, there's more to see. So thanks, guys, for always keeping me on my toes. I appreciate it. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, hold on, Mila, somebody's asking why 3 months.
I don't want to go back to this situation.
She has PTSD from this transaction. She can't revisit it.
It was a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Was that Mo?
Yes.
I'll give a quick synopsis for you, Goal. Basically, he decided he no longer wanted to pay cash and wanted to finance it, and then needed to do all this feasibility and all this crazy stuff. So that was really a very long, very tenuous transaction. And I know Mila is just glad it's over.
Oh, good. I'm sorry. I didn't want to bring all that stuff up, but I just wanted to know, why wouldn't earnest money be in danger then, or why did
Oh
they?
yeah, it
Yeah.
for sure was.
So then why didn't they just didn't have another buyer?
You know, there are all kinds of things and reasons why people continue a transaction, and I don't think it would have been a financeable property. So him paying cash, because didn't he end up paying cash, or did he finance it?
No, he financed it.
Okay.
So at the
It
beginning,
was financeable.
he wanted to check if it's possible to build several properties on that lot. But of course, because of the COVID, nobody worked, neither county or other offices, so he couldn't get the response on time. And then we asked for a month, for the extension for a month, and then at the end of that month, he decided to finance, and then he couldn't. And then at the very last day, when all the docs were sent to the county for recording, we get the phone call, and the escrow agent says, "Oh, we made a mistake, so we need one more day of extension."
Oh, yeah. And there was there was more, right? There were like it was like a roller coaster the entire transaction.
Yeah, like.
But that's a good synopsis for you. That's kind of the Cliff Notes version, so you're not, having to delve too far into things.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So
Sorry.
no worries. So
I was just trying to learn from it, but thank you. Sorry, no more needed.
oh yeah, it was one of those that yeah, I was glad when it was over. So the goal training I wanted to talk to you guys about today. You always want to start your goals, right? This is how I do mine. I'm going to just kind of give you guys like a quick breakdown. So I do mine 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, and then either 10 or 20, right? So on each one, I wish I had mine with me. I should have emailed it to myself so I had a copy to show you guys, but I always use the SMART, which, do you guys know what SMART for goals are? Because I had to look it up because I know what it is, but it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. So yeah, I pulled that up before, have it on my screen, because I was like, I know they're called SMART goals, but I can't remember what each of those letters stand for. So specific, it needs to say, okay, I'm gonna like, does anyone have a goal that they're trying to break down that I can kind of work with you on?
I would like to make $300,000 next year by December 31st, 2021.
Okay, perfect. So that's an awesome, specific, relevant, it's totally doable for you. I've looked at your numbers from this year, so yeah, 100% you can do that. So what you would want to work out is say, okay, how many transactions did I do this year, right? What was my average commission per transaction? And that's super easy to do, right? I can do it for you. I'm not going to do it in front of everyone else because that's, but I can work that out. Then what you want to do is say, okay, so that's what I was making per transaction. So that means I would need to do X number of transactions. Now, the thing that people who just do goals and don't ever sell real estate don't ever look at is there's certain months that you sell more in.
Depends on the months and clients.
Right? So I always look back. Here's a random fact about me. My best month is always November. I don't know. I can't explain it. for the past 3 years. November's been my month. So what I always do then is I go, okay, so this is what I closed each month last year, right? And just use this as a template. This is not like gold. Also, you always want to count that you're going to have some transactions that fail. Even if you've never had a failed transaction before, I always caution people, it's never over until it's recorded. So definitely count on some transactions falling out. So for 300,000, I'm just going to do this with fake numbers, Mila, if you're okay with that. And I can work with you later to use real numbers, because I'm not going to go, I don't want to go through your average price per commission, but let's just say your average price per commission is 15,000, just for the sake of argument. I don't think it is that, but you know, this is just to work something really quick so you can kind of see how to do it, right?
Right.
So you would need to do 20 transactions, right? So there's 12 months in the year. So you're going to be doing more than one transaction a month, right?
That's possible. Yeah.
So what I would do is plan on writing either one listing and one purchase for each month, right? So that if you have, let's say, you know, 10% fall out, okay, but how many buyers will you need to work with, and how many listings will you have to try and get in order to achieve that? So what you need to do in order to figure that out is look at your success rate. When you go to a listing appointment, what's your closing ratio? I know people that close at 10%, and I know people that close at over 90%. Now, some of the tactics that are used by the people that close at 90%, just because they get the listing, it doesn't mean they close the listing. So definitely something to think about is, how many appointments do you need to go on? How many do you need to pay for leads to get to that number? Are you going to work your sphere of influence? So these are all the things. Setting a goal, right? You have to look at, okay, all of these things. So would it be fair to say that you want to have closed at least 150,000 by July 31st? If you're going to make 300 next year. No, excuse me, June 30th. Yes, no?
I would can get a listing for $4 million and get a commission out of it of $120,000 and sell just one house.
You could, right? And you know, if that's your goal, awesome. But how many appointments are you going to have to go on, and how many $10 million listings are there in Washington, and how many $10 million listings pay a full commission, right?
Just need to find one.
So what I would look at is, okay, I want to be at 150,000 by June 30th. So if that's where you want to be, how many deals are you going to have to close? You're going to have closed 10 deals at your average commission, right? So seeing that you want to close 20 deals next year, you're going to have to set up, okay, how much time am I going to have to spend prospecting to get these deals? How much, you know, how am I going to find listings? And so you need to start working on a marketing plan. What has worked for you to get buyers and sellers? And how much time does it usually take of you marketing in order to obtain buyers and sellers?
And I have a full-time job.
Oh, I know. So that's what I would look at. Okay, how many hours per week do I have for real estate? And you have to determine whether or not this is feasible. Now, for most people, I would be like, oh, you're going to work a full-time job and make 300,000 in real estate? You're smoking crack. You, I'm like, oh yeah, Mila, no problem. So for you, I'm like, yeah, no, that's really achievable, because I've watched your commissions go up in the value. You are talking to me about not discounting services. You're seeing your value. You're stepping into your own in real estate. So that's really important to look at it. You know, one of the 3-month goals would be close 75,000. Then the next one, 6-month goals, close to 150,000, and you put on there specific dates. Now, here's the thing. If you don't make 75,000 in 3 months, because you and I both know, of course, summer's going to be traditionally the biggest time for you to earn commission. Do you throw out your goal? No. What you would do is you'd come back and revamp it. You would say, oh, okay, so I need to close X amount during the next 3 months. So your 3-month goal is always going to be changing every 3 months. You have to revisit those. And a lot of times people, they write out goals one time and then they just think that they're done for the year. And I open my goals every morning. That's what I look at, because I look at my 20-year goal, where I want to be and what I'm going to be doing. And that makes whatever I'm doing today, because I'm looking at that. So those are the things that you can look at, right? To kind of keep you motivated on the days where you just don't feel like doing it, where you don't want to follow up with a buyer, any of those things. Also, one of the things that I would suggest for you is within the first 3 months, have an extra, because you want to make $300,000. I think adding a VA to your life will change your life. Truly, it did me. And that's why I suggest it. When something has just made like the pressure come off my shoulder, it's something that I will always say, try this. So what you would do is say, hey, how much is a VA going to cost me a month? How many hours do I need it? I can have him schedule inspections. I can have him or her. Sorry, I shouldn't say him. I have 2 male VAs, so I always say him, talking about VAs. We have great female VAs. You don't have to get male. But that's something that, you could look at and say, okay, what could they do? Because they follow up with my clients who are currently, listed. They follow up with potential buyers. They do all of that back end work for me, so that really it's like I'm doing the contracts and the showings. And sometimes I don't even do the showings anymore. I'll just pay someone else to go do a showing. So those are the things that you can start to look at. Okay, what are things that I could still maintain my clients, and how many more transactions would I need to do? So if I added a VA and a transaction coordinator, right? How much would that cost me? And what would I have to do, 2 or 3 additional deals in order to pay for that and still gross or net, not gross, net the 300,000. So those are things that you start to look at, right? What's going to make a difference? I added my first full-time assistant when I started Paraissance. So that was back in 2008 was when I got my first full-time assistant. That was the year that we closed over 300,000. I was the only broker at Paraissance at that time, and we closed about 300,000 short sales. 300. Sorry, Mila. I have your goal stuck in my head now. I 300 short sales that year, and that was a lot. And I needed an assistant to help with just faxing in the paperwork, because I was also a single mom at the time of 2 small girls. So it was a lot to try and take on, starting a company, having 2 kids with 0 help, and having to support everything, And so one of the things that I really said is I just can't do this all on my own. And that's when I hired an assistant. When I had started Baldwin Real Estate, I think I had 11 brokers there. And then I closed that down, started Paraissance, and some brokers moved their license over, but they weren't really doing any business. So I don't really count that as brokers. So those are the things that you want to look at, is what's going to make it feasible and make it so when you go on vacation, you have somebody there to answer your phone. You can forward your phone. A lot of people don't ever think about that, but when I've gone on vacations I have forwarded my phone to assistants or to someone that can answer the questions so that you can still enjoy your vacation. So those are what you need to look at in your goals. What vacations are you going to do? Is that vacation fund going to go to a different place to be saved, or is that all going to be part of the $300,000? You know, what are your plans to do with the $300,000? Is it you want $300,000? Are you looking to buy investment properties? Are you looking to buy a new car? Are you looking to, you know, what are you looking to do with it? Because I would also put those specific measurable results into your goals.
Mhm. Got
Because
it.
one of the things that I think a lot of people never look at is you can make money from buying real estate yourself. You know, you can have the sellers. There used to be, here's a blast from the past, but it used to be where you could buy a property owner occupied using like the heart or gift or there's all different types of funds where the sellers would pay 1%. They'd pay for your down payment and they'd pay for your closing costs. Well, you still got paid 3%. So you would literally be paid to buy the property. Now, nowadays there's a little bit different programs, you know, they're a little less aggressive than those, but you still can use your commission towards investing in real estate. Are you going to count that towards your 300,000? Is that part of your goals? All of those things need to be specific and measurable. So it needs to have a date and how much is going on with that. So did that give you a lot to work with on that, Mila?
That's what I'm struggling the most, to have my goals set.
Yes, it is not easy for me to do them because I sit down and I've goal trained, gosh, for the last like 14, 15 years. And so sitting down in front of the computer to do it myself, this year I drew a complete blank because I was like, well, I don't know what's going to happen with my divorce settlement. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, am I still going to be selling homes? Am I going to be doing this? What, you know, and there was just so many like what ifs. And I was like, okay, get out of your head, figure out what it is you want, and just start. If you just put one goal, right? Other goals will come from that. So you got to start somewhere. And if you sit down and you start working on it, that will make a huge difference.
We'll try.
You are so positive at Carsmith. You're like, we'll try. So that's kind of my little tidbit on goal training, unless anyone else had something that they wanted me to kind of chat with them about. Because we're going to be doing the series in January with Tristan from Lab Coats coming and doing his daily schedule. Because that's something that I'm big on, is once you have goals, your to-do list, your daily schedule should support those goals. So you just have to work things backwards. And if you guys ever have questions on how much time or how many calls you have to make in order to meet the results, Google is your best friend. You can Google that information and it'll give you a base to kind of start from. Now, if you're doing better or worse, that's something to look at and maybe talk to me about coaching on. But that will give you kind of a baseline to get started on. So anybody else have questions about, I would love to see all of you guys on the goal training series, because there's going to be 4 sessions and it's going to be 2 weeks long. So there'll be 2 per week. And I'm definitely looking forward to not only working on my goals, but helping all of you guys get your goals done. So if you have a starting to bring to the series, I think that that will definitely make a difference for you, because then you have something to work on, work from, and the people that we have that are coming in that are talking about stuff, I think will definitely make a difference.
Well, now that Mila has thrown me out of the game,
Why?
mine is completely different. I love it that she's so motivated, but mine is completely different. Mine is really learning how to be disciplined, really, because it seems like it doesn't matter what goals you make, but how to be disciplined in those. And I really like that approach that you said, like make one goal and then the rest of it will follow. I think that suits me more.
Everyone always has to put one sock and one shoe on, one foot in front of the other. And people, I think, get caught up in, oh, well, she's doing that, so is mine not right? And that's why I've always said, I never set people's goals for them, ever. I've tried, it doesn't work. So it's pointless. It's like a futile effort to set someone's goals for them. The best thing that you can do is choose what motivates you. And for every person, that looks completely different. On my goal sheets, I have things about my kids, right? If I can get my teenagers to do the dishes once a week without complaining, right? That's one of my goals. And so I think a lot of times people think that it has to be just monetary goals, or it has to be just different things than it really has to be. Guys, I'm not setting just goals for you to work on just your real estate portion of life. One of my goals is to finally get rid of the last, like, we'll be gentle and say only 15 pounds of baby weight, but it's probably more that I am trying to get rid of. And I realized as I'm drinking my soda with my Burger Master fries, I'm not going to be able to do that for the first few months in 2021 because that's part of my goals, right? Eating healthy and walking, and like there were things that I put in there, and it was like walk, I think it was 3 times a week. Again, I don't have my goals right in front of me, but I have pretty much every area of my life something that's going to improve, because it's not just about real estate. It's not just about, spiritual. It's not just about health and fitness. Really, it's setting the things that matter to you. You can choose what areas you want to have goals in. You can choose what you want those goals to be. So that's really what I want you guys to do, is start playing with it. It's not something that needs to be like, it's not meant to make you feel bad. It's meant to inspire you. It's meant to make you go, oh, wow, that's really achievable. So, when Mila says, oh, I want to make 300,000, a lot of people go, oh my gosh. And then when you start to break it down, oh, that's only 20 transactions at $15,000 a transaction, right? I mean, that doesn't seem quite so bad. So those are the things that I really want you guys to get inspired by and get excited about, is looking at, oh, you know what? Maybe my goal of doing 150 or 50,000 or 700,000 would work. Whatever excites you. Because I know someone at the company I used to own whose goal was to send home to her family in a different country like $200,000. And so she was like hell-bent on completing that. And when she got done, she was so just enlivened and excited. It was like, wow, that's awesome. And so watching people do the things that make a difference for them is one of the things that motivates me. It keeps me wanting to help people with their goals, help get people excited about different things in real estate. When people get into real estate investing, a lot of times it opens up a whole new ballgame for them, because it's not just, oh, I'm paying for the house I live in. It used to be everyone's dream was to get into commercial real estate. But since COVID shut down, I don't know if that's really accurate anymore. So that's the thing, guys. You choose what you want your goals to be. Like 100%. And whatever you guys choose, I'm happy to work with you to support you on how to get to them.
And it's totally achievable. You know, when I got my mortgage for 30 years,
Mhm.
conventional, I didn't want to pay it for 30 years because it's like half of my life, you know. And I
Because you
set a
saw
goal.
the till. Let's be real, Mila. You saw the truth in lending and you went, holy crap, that's what I'm spending on interest.
Yes. So I do not want to feed the bank instead of myself. And I set the goal to pay it off in 3 years instead of 30 years. And the same I've done in Russia when we were buying our one of the first houses. One of the first, because every time when we get the mortgage, like for more than 10 years, I set the goal to pay it off in 3 years. And every time I achieve this goal. So everything is achievable.
It
You
is.
just need to go forward. Don't stop.
And one of the things I've noticed, because like I said, you guys, I've been doing goal training for a long time. One of the things I've noticed is when somebody has a goal and they have that in their mind, they aren't going out and being like, oh yeah, I just went and bought a new car, because that wasn't part of their goals. They aren't going out and buying a coffee every day, because in order to save X amount to meet their goals, that doesn't support that. So that's the thing, when you have something to work towards that you're excited about, it changes your mindset. So yeah, Mila, saying, oh, I'm going to pay this off in 3 years. There's people that would never even think that achievable.
A lot of people laughed at me. That's okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, I had so many people laugh at me about so many different things, and then you do it and you look at them and you're just like, I never try and rub something in someone's face, but it's like, you laughed at me, but you're still living in your apartment
Mhm.
with no prospect of even buying a house, but you're making fun of me for, paying off a house in 3 years. So I think it's always interesting. People have different priorities and different goals, and it doesn't make it right or wrong. Because some people's goal in life is really to travel the world. Like, they'll never buy real estate. They just want to go
That's
see
my
the
goal as
world.
well.
Yes. But you know what I'm saying is that's all they want to do. Work until they have enough money for the next trip. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong or right about anything. And goals are not about judgment. It's about what excites you and what works for you.
And you can combine those goals, because every time when I post something about like the goal settings or prosperity or wealth, a lot of people start writing like, oh, you don't think about kindness or donations or something else, but they have no idea how much money I do donate and to who. So they just blame me for setting up the financial goals. And I think it's not okay, because I may have several different goals. I may help people with my money. I can make my own money to pay off my bills, right? Because with their messages, I cannot pay off my bills for some reason. So, yeah, the goals could be different.
They can. And the other part of that is, I'm big about sharing what you're up to, but sometimes there are things that you don't share.
Yeah.
There's things that are like, oh yeah, that's my win. There's a lot of things, I used to post all of my volunteer activities, or where I would take my kids anytime I donated anything. And then I realized, people will say negative things about anything.
Mhm.
So just choose what you want out there and what you don't want. Because people think, oh, all she did, it's so funny because I've had people say I'm selfish, or that I, only was trying to earn money for me or do this or that. And I just have to laugh, because with 5 kids, I don't know anyone that has children at all that can be like, okay, that's not true. There are moms who are selfish, but I don't see myself as one of those, right? I would buy my kids something before I'd ever buy it for myself. Now, that being said, there are people that would say, oh, she's taking her kids out to feed the homeless to look good. And it's like, no, I'm doing that so that my kids understand that this is the reality. This is what can happen. And it's one of the reasons I've taken all of my children, except for the baby, because I just haven't been able to take him to a third world country. But I think it's important for them to see, hey, pretty much America is very privileged. So when you talk about poor in America versus poor in like the Dominican Republic, it's two very different things to witness. And I always thought it was very important for my kids to see that. But when people started saying, oh, look, she's taking them, you know, all over the world, they're so spoiled. And I'm thinking, okay, we were down in the Dominican Republic, like we went and saw and helped and did all kinds of stuff for schools, and people don't see that. And I think it's interesting because no matter what you do, someone's always going to find some judgment or have something negative to say. And as long as you know who you are, you know what you're doing, it's like water off a duck's back. You don't, you know, take it in or let it get to you. Because for years I did. I would be like, oh, this person thinks I'm horrible. And now I'm just like, somebody else has something to say. So
you know, I also want to say, Mila, that it's none of anyone's business how you spend your money. When people post something on Facebook, why don't you do this or don't you do that? It's really none of the business. I mean, I can't believe someone would even say that.
I lost my friend last week because she said, like, you're posting so much stuff about the prosperity that they cannot see it anymore.
But that's her problem. Mila, the thing is, it's her problem. It's her perspective. That's not yours. You are who you are. She thinks that way. So she needs to deal with that. It has nothing to do with you, that because that's how she sees it. You know, so, you know, it's crazy.
When someone's pointing their finger at you, they have all these pointing back at them.
Exactly.
So it took a long time for me to realize that. And if somebody points something out like, oh, what are you doing with this? What are you doing? I'd be like, you know what? That would be great if that's something that matters to you, to put into your goals and figure out how you can contribute to that. Right? Because just because something matters to them, like I have a huge, huge soft spot in my heart for women in third world countries, like huge, because they don't have the choices. They don't have birth control. They don't have a lot of things that can make a huge difference in their life. So if somebody like comes to me with something when it's related to that, I am like, oh my gosh, what can I do? And I think that other people are that way about other things. So you just gotta figure out what matters to you and how to make a difference for you. And not worry so much, which is really hard. It's so much easier said than done, right?
Mm-hmm.
To not worry about what other people say or do. But the more you can do that, the more you can move forward.
We'll try. But that's
I think
hard.
one thing that helps with that is to be and surround yourself with people that have the same kind of thought like you know, because that supports you. Because if you only, you know, I've noticed that helps me.
Yeah, because some people can be always jealous instead of taking some actions and going forward in their lives.
Yeah.
So when they see somebody, you know, to be successful, they just do not accept it.
Yeah, and it's, you know, part of life's lesson, right? That there are those people who will be supportive and there are those who won't. And sometimes a person who's supportive today won't be tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing, is if you can surround yourself with like your own little tribe of people that, you know, lifts you up and is like-minded and likes to do the same things, it's an amazing experience to have that support system.
Yeah, and so I think sometimes it really is, if you come from a place of compassion, which I'm not saying I do all the time, but sometimes some of the people that are closest to you, you actually find out how unsupportive they are. And it's really like I started seeing some of my friends that are like pointing the finger is, first of all, they're not doing anything and they're not feeling good about themselves. So you engage them. It's like, you know, it hurts me when you say that. I wish you could support me. And I think we both, you know, I make it an us problem. Like, you know, I used to be like this too. And, you know, let's support each other. Let's lift each other up, or let me help you do what you're not doing, you know, because usually those are the people that are pointing the fingers at you.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of truth to all of
And
that.
that way you get closer too to each other, as opposed to just judging each other, you know, you start having, so that's just another way, not that I do it all the time, you know.
You're not perfect? What? Dang it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, and sometimes it just helps, like when somebody's like, I'm doing one thing and they criticize me for something else, and I just say, you know, that really is not supportive right now. And that makes them think, you know, that makes them think, like, what are they saying? Some of it is that none of us have really learned how to be supportive, you know, really.
Yeah.
So it's like a learning thing for all of us.
Everyone's always learning.
Yeah.
Or they're stagnant. Either you're moving forward and you're learning. Like I'm reading a book right now that's like The Reason Why. And it's all about writing like your own mission and vision statement, basically figuring out what your why is, like what inspires you the most. And it's very interesting because the more that you delve into what inspires you and what will make a difference for you, it's very eye-opening. And you know, it's not my first time writing a mission or a vision statement or any of those things, but every time you do this, you get inspired, you find something else, because I like looking into those dark, nasty crevices to figure out, okay, what can I do differently now? What can I do different the next time something of this situation comes up? Because I used to be very reactive. Someone would say something to me and I'd snap back at them. And I've spent a lot of time in the last 20 years really working on that and saying, okay, how could I respond where it would be a little bit different? How could I have handled that better? And so always in my goals, it would be like one of my goals for my children is not to raise my voice, because the more I yell, then it's like you have to escalate to that every time to get them to listen. And trust me, with 5 of them, I'm outnumbered. So I can't continue to yell, right? And people will say all the time, "Oh my gosh, you're so calm. Are you really like that?" Oh, trust me, there's times I'm not, but that's there, right? To not be the mom that always yells, because there's lots of reasons, but it's there. And so it's always interesting to see in those dark crevices, like what you find and what you can do that would make a difference. Because a difference that's made for you when you're around someone else, that can open their eyes up to something and make a difference for them. So, anybody else have any questions on goal setting or anything that's going on in really real estate in general? Any listings coming up? I have one. I shared on my Boulevard team page a article the Seattle Times wrote about Spanaway. It's like the hottest market right now, and I actually have a listing going live hopefully tomorrow. That is, I think it's at 415. It's in a really cute gated community, huge lot, totally remodeled kitchens and bathrooms. So if anyone has any questions on that one, I'll be sharing it on Facebook as soon as it goes live. I still also have that Bonnie Lake 55 plus community that if anyone has a 649 55 plus community buyer, sell it. And also a commercial residential combo. It's a barbershop in Tacoma.
Hey, Lori, did you figure out the KV core thing with the phone number?
I'm 99.9% sure KV core is just going away.
Okay, so
they don't respond. They, I mean, it's to the point of ridiculous. So I'm talking within the next week. It will be there till the end of January because we're going to make sure that everything is migrated to the new system and working properly. But hopefully by next week, we will have a new system to talk about.
Do you know what system?
I don't yet.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 right now that we're looking at. Follow Up Boss, then also Real Geeks, and I can't remember the third. I don't remember if it was Commissions Inc. or something else, but yeah, I mean, they all do the same basic thing that KV Core does, but I cannot send emails that are constantly not answered, have 0 customer service. Our account rep said, oh yeah, the last time she actually responded to me, she said she had 15 minutes in like a week and a half.
Okay.
It's like, but we're having this issue now. And so when you ask the bot online, it's like, oh, sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. That's something that has to be handled by so-and-so. So, you know, my thing is I can't fix software. So all I can do is go and find something that's going to work because it's been continual problems for too long.
This may be too technical of a question, but when you're vetting out the software, can you see about the pricing on like API keys or
On what?
API keys? They're for website integration. So like instead of using just their platform, they usually have a token that you can pull data onto your own websites.
So there is that ability with Follow Up Boss, but they don't do like they have a third party that does the websites, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I honestly, I'll have to ask because that's, and here's the worst part, when they respond, I'll probably go, huh? Because their response will be something, I'll be like, hold on, let me video, or let me just record that, and then I'll play it for you, because.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's just the pricing. KV Core was like $2.95 a month to even use their token key. So it wasn't.
Or guys, I tried. I feel like I fought the good fight to make that work. I mean, it has been 6 months of constant fighting to get someone to do a training, to get someone to explain. Like, it was literally like pulling teeth to get any person to respond to questions. And that just doesn't work. When we work remotely, we don't work regular hours. You know, I have brokers contacting me and then they want answers and I can't ever get them. So it's, yeah.
That seems like the home warranty I'm dealing with. If anybody knows how to deal, who governs home warranty company, please let me know, because I've had 3. Yeah. If anybody knows what's the governing bureaucracy that that you can complain to, let me know, please, about home warranties.
I don't, but what home warranty company is it? Just so we can make sure we don't
It's First
use that?
American, and they're rated as the top, and they're not. I mean, I listen to like radio shows about them. It's basically they come for small things, but they take no liability. They send me one contractor that broke my pipe and the shower rod, and they do not take responsibility for that. I haven't gotten them to pay for the first one nor for the second mistake. And anyways, so they're horrible. Please do not contact them.
No first am.
Yeah.
Got it. That's on my radar now. All right. Well, does anybody else have any buyers they're looking for in a certain location or anything? It's free question period.
You know, the South End, the Renton area, for anything 550, 601, up to 610 is just so hard. I don't know if anybody else is having luck with listings, or maybe we could, as an office, market, like farm that area and send mailings, because I know there are other people That was just one.
Yeah, the office won't farm.
No, I meant 2 or 3 of us that are looking.
yeah.
I heard somebody else, if anybody's interested in doing that, let me know, because that would be nice to farm that area for listings or just a direct sale, you know, like saying we have 3 buyers or something.
Well, I have a possible listing if the showing goes well in Olympia, but it's going to be about $899. It's a former Street of Dreams property.
Oh yeah, no, we're like, our max is 610.
Was it like 3,000 square feet house with 2 acres? No?
In Renton?
No. With is it like a huge house with a lot of land?
It doesn't
big
have a
money?
huge amount of land. It's it's right around an acre, I think. Maybe less. It's probably less. But it definitely has like some high-end finishes. It's got like inlaid hardwood floors. I believe it is over 3,000 square feet.
Okay. So if anyone has a buyer for a 2-bedroom condo in Seattle, close to Queen Anne, please let me know.
Is it a first floor?
No, the second.
I do have a buyer that's looking for a first floor condo, either in a 55 and over community or secure building. Their price point's about $1 million.
Wow, that's a good price point.
It is. You'd think it would be easy. It's not. I have discovered everything seems harder than it needs to be. All right. Anybody else have anything?
What are your thoughts, Lori, on like little mom and pops that own rentals? Like they're thinking about selling because they don't think economy is going to recover in the next 2 years or so. What has been your experience out there?
All of my investor clients, I have made happy holidays, New Year calls to, and that own a bunch of rentals. And I think we're definitely, not going to like have a market crash, but I think that we are going to plateau. So if they are considering selling anytime in the next 2 years, I recommend selling, because the market, we need listings badly.
And remind me, what's the 1031 exchange period? It's three months they have to reinvest it in something else.
Here's the thing: always hire a 1031 administrator, right? To get the timelines.
Sure. I was just trying to get an idea of the timeline, but I will definitely not.
It's between 90 and 120 days that they have to say that's the property. Then they have an additional amount of time to close. But I am always scared to give those exact days, because I think it's important, because things do change and we don't want to give information. We always want to make sure that they are consulting the 1031 administrator. Because
I didn't ask to, I will give the same answer you gave me. I never give information. I refer them, but I just wanted to kind of get an idea for myself. Thanks.
It's somewhere between 90 and 120 to choose the property. And then you have additional time to close. So, yeah, it's a great thing to do right now, because then you have realized the increase or equity in your property. You're not having to pay tax on that, but then you can transfer that into something else that's going to produce more income. So what I have been advising people to do is move out of single family investments and move into multifamily. Because that's, I was in commercial for so long. That's where I had invested a lot of my funds in real estate into commercial buildings. And I wish that I had done some more multifamily residential. Because, there's pros and there's cons, right? Because if people weren't paying their rent at all, So it is what it is. I mean, real estate is not like high risk, but there are risks involved.
Yeah, there was a show on radio about how Shell Company in, I can't remember what city it was, but Shell Company was buying a lot of the foreclosures and the people that were selling their homes. And so the community was being lost. So I'm wondering who the buyers are going to be in Seattle for all these multiplexes, you know?
The multifamilies, I haven't seen very many multifamilies coming on the market at all.
Yeah, there aren't very.
Because I have a client that's looking, and we looked at one that was 1.45 down in the U district.
Oh.
But I haven't really found a ton on the market right now.
You want to buy mine?
Maybe it's like 5+ because I haven't looked at like apartment buildings or anything like that, because he's going to be using a residential loan to purchase at least a duplex, if not a triplex or fourplex. So
Well,
that keeps you still in residential financing versus commercial.
yeah, I'm thinking about selling mine, so I'll let you know. It's CD.
Do like, let me know.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions? If not, I'm going to say thank you guys for spending Wednesday with me. I know it's a holiday week, so a lot of us are thinking about still recovering from Christmas, preparing for New Year's, doing all kinds of stuff. And I just appreciate you guys taking time out and talking and collaborating and sharing with me. Hope that you all
today.
Happy New Year to everybody. Bye.
Happy New Year's. Bye.
Happy New Year.